Welcome back. Have you ever heard a sound that wasn't meant for you? A knock in the night, a voice behind a door, a whisper caught in the wind. Tonight, we invite you once again into the hidden corners of Japan, where forgotten rooms, cursed objects, and restless spirits still wait for someone to listen. These 5 new stories are not just meant to scare. They are warnings, memories, and sometimes invitations. So turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and whatever you do, don't answer the knock. This is Japanese Horror Narration Series Volume 6. Let us begin. Episode 1: The Woman Who Lived in the Static. Length 15 minutes. Narration script. Episode 1. When was the last time you saw static on a screen? These days, with digital TV and fiber internet, that gray, flickering snow is mostly gone. But when I was a kid, it came on late at night, after the final program, when stations signed off. And sometimes, I saw her. It started when I was 12. My parents were asleep. I snuck into the living room to watch old horror movies. The signal cut out at 217 a.m. Static filled the screen, but just for a moment. A face flickered in. Pale, long hair, eyes wide, too wide. She was looking straight at me. I blinked. Gone. I told myself it was just sleep. But the next night, I came back, waited, and again, at exactly 217. There she was, closer this time, smiling. I told my mom. She scolded me for staying up. So I stopped. Years passed. I moved out, forgot about it, until last month. I found an old CRT TV in a thrift shop. Nostalgia hit. I bought it, hooked it up. No channels, just static. Then, at 217 a.m., she returned. This time, she spoke. Her voice buzzed through the speakers, broken and warped. "Thank you for remembering." I unplugged the TV. The screen stayed on. The static flickered violently, and her face pressed up against the glass. From the inside, now the screen turns on by itself. Even when unplugged. Even when I'm not home. And always at 217. Neighbors say they hear voices coming from my apartment at night. But I live alone. I smashed the TV. Burned it. But the static followed. On my phone. My computer. The microwave display. Glass. Water. Mirrors. She watches from anywhere. A signal can break. Last night, I woke to find every screen in my home glowing. Even ones that don't exist. And her voice whispered from all directions. "You gave me form. Now I just need a name." If you ever see a face in the static, don't look at it twice. Don't listen to it. And above all, never remember it. Because once you do, she'll remember you, forever. Narration script. Episode 2. Not all dolls are made. Some are remembered, and some were never supposed to stay behind. When I was 14, my parents sent me to live in the countryside with my great-uncle. He was a retired Ninyoshia master doll maker. He lived alone in an old wooden house at the foot of the mountains. The walls were lined with glass cases, each holding a doll more lifelike than the last. Skin made of porcelain, real human hair, eyes that followed you, always watching, always waiting. He didn't talk much, but one rule was clear. Never go into the basement. I helped clean, swept his workshop, watched him work in silence. He never carved faces. The dolls arrived blank. And yet, the next day, they always had expressions. Sad, curious, sometimes terrified. One night, I heard footsteps. But they weren't coming from upstairs. They were below, in the basement. And then, whispers, children, crying, calling for help. I asked him about it. He looked up slowly and said, "They forget their dolls. Don't listen to them." Of course, I went down. The door creaked open. The stairs were old, the air dry and heavy. At the bottom were rows of unfinished dolls. Dozens, hundreds, all facing the same direction. Toward a wall covered in mirrors. In the center of the room stood a girl, not a doll, or so I thought. She looked at me and whispered, "Tell him I want my name back." Then she smiled, and her skin began to crack. I ran. The next morning, one of the cases in the hall held a new doll. Same hair, same dress, same smile. I tried to leave that house. But every road led back. Every train redirected. Even my phone showed the same message. Apprentices don't leave until they've learned the craft. One night, my great-uncle fell asleep at his workbench. I looked into his sketchbook. Every doll had a name beside it. Not labels, not designs, death certificates. Now I carve, not by choice. And every time I finish a face, I hear them whisper, "Don't forget us again." If you ever meet a doll maker who says he works from memory, don't accept his offer to help. Because some faces were never meant to be remembered. Narration script episode 3. How many steps are there in your home? You probably don't count them. But maybe you should. I moved into an old apartment in Tokyo, 4th floor walk up. The landlord said the building had history. Cheap rent, no elevator, thin walls. The staircase was steep, creaky, but solid. I always counted 28 steps from the ground to my door. Every time. Until one night there were 29. I didn't think much of it. Just tired, distracted. But the 29th step felt soft. Like stepping on damp carpet. And colder than the rest. The next night, again. 29 steps. And this time, I counted aloud. I made sure. When I reached step 28, I was right at my door. But just behind me, my foot touched something else. A step that wasn't there yesterday. I looked back. Nothing. Just shadow. I asked my downstairs neighbor, an elderly woman. She said, when the building was first built, someone fell on the 29th step that wasn't there. They say it appears when someone's been chosen. From then on, I filmed every climb. The videos always showed 28 steps. But I always felt 29. And sometimes, I'd hear it. A breath. A shuffle behind me, even when I was alone. One night, drunk and angry, I stomped on the phantom step. It groaned, and something grabbed my ankle. Cold, thin fingers. I tumbled down the stairs. Woke up at the bottom. No injuries, no pain. But from then on, the step never disappeared again. It stayed. Always 29. Now, others feel it too. Neighbors complain of strange bruises. One tenant went missing entirely. Police said he never entered the building. But his shoes were found halfway up the stairs. On step 29, I moved out. But sometimes, when I climb Stairsony stairs, I count 28, then pause, and feel something, waiting on the 29th. If you ever count more steps than usual, don't step again, don't look back, don't acknowledge it, because that step might not be part of the building. It might be part of something else. Closing narration volume 6. Thank you for joining us in Japanese Horror Narration Series Volume 6. Tonight, we touch the edge of what should stay buried. A woman in the static. A soul preserved in porcelain. A staircase that counts more than just your steps. And whispers beneath your floor. But if you still feel them watching, still hear something moving just behind you, it's not the stories that stayed with you. It's what came with them. Sometimes, horror doesn't end. It simply changes form. It moves into the quiet parts of your life. And waits. We hope you sleep well tonight. But if you find an extra step, a blinking screen, or a doll smiling too wide, don't say we didn't warn you. Until next time, don't look too long, and never listen too closely. Good night.